This is a case that even the police were shocked by. The victim in this case had been reported missing by his family over 3 months before his body turned up in the most unlikely of places. It would take some quick thinking by the police and a single DNA test to solve this mystery. But what they were about to uncover would shock them to their very core. This is the case of the man who was found dead inside a fridge in a Maryland convenience store. It all started on January when police officers in Arundel County, Maryland responded to a call at around 7:30 p.m. when they arrived at the Little Italy grocery in Delhi. Located at 1793 West Street in Annapolis, they found an unresponsive man inside the shop. The victim was identified as 36-year-old Antoine Gaskins. He was found lying face down on top of a cooler directly behind the counter. To make matters even more suspicious, Antoine was not breathing, and there was blood coming from a wound on his head. Despite the best efforts of emergency services, Antoine was pronounced dead at the scene, and so the police were called in to investigate. At the time, the police didn't know it. But Antoine had been reported missing by his worried family 3 months earlier, back on October 1st, 2023. His disappearance had made the local news. At the time, the police believed that he may have been suffering from mental health issues and had simply wandered off. But now they were dealing with a murder investigation. What was particularly strange about this crime was that the store owner had discovered Antoine's body just 2 hours earlier. When he came in to open up the shop for the day, he'd immediately called 911 after finding the lifeless body in such an unusual spot. But despite this shocking discovery, the police could find no signs of forced entry at the store. So how did Antoine get inside? Was this a random attack? And who could have done such a thing? The first thing the police looked at was the security footage from inside the store. This footage showed that the day before Antoine's body was discovered, a lone individual entered the store at 8:40 p.m. This person walked directly behind the counter and appeared to engage in conversation with someone. However, because the camera was positioned above the counter, the police could not see the person that this guy was speaking to. Could this be our killer? When the police examined the surveillance footage frame by frame, they realized that this was no ordinary customer. In fact, the police recognized the man who had entered the store as none other than the store owner himself. This was very suspicious. Why would the store owner let another man into the store after closing? Why? Were they whispering to each other if there was no legitimate reason for them to do so? As it turned out, the police had actually spoken to this man several times during their initial investigation. They had asked him why he had let another man into the store after closing time, and why he was speaking so closely to him. His response was that he had simply forgotten his phone inside the store and had returned to retrieve it. He said that he had spoken to the other man in hushed tones so as not to disturb the neighbors. He claimed that he had never seen this man before in his life. He had merely asked him to hold his phone while he retrieved it from behind the counter. But there was one tiny problem with the store owner's alibi. When the police checked the surveillance footage from inside the store, they noticed that he had entered the store wearing a hoodie, whereas the day before, he had been wearing a t-shirt. When questioned about this discrepancy, the store owner changed his story and said that he had returned to the store to collect a jacket that he had forgotten. Still, his story seemed a bit shaky to the police. There was something else that was eating away at them. Something about the way the store owner was acting just didn't sit right with them. Couldn't quite put their finger on it, but they knew in their gut that he was hiding something. To make matters worse, a witness later came forward and told the police that she had seen a white van driving erratically near the store around the time of the murder. Although the police had little evidence to go on, they were determined to find Antoine's killer. But it would be a few weeks later when they finally caught a break in the case. One day, as the police were combing through the evidence yet again, they decided to send the clothing that Antoine had been wearing to the lab for testing. The results revealed that the clothing contained a mixture of DNA from Antoine and an unknown male. The police were hoping that this DNA would match to someone that was already in the system, but they were not hopeful. However, as it turned out, the DNA was a match for none other than the store owner, Jerome Powell. At this point, the police had enough evidence to arrest Jerome. They confronted him with the evidence and asked him to come down to the station for questioning. Jerome agreed and went willingly. When the police read him his rights, Jerome confessed to everything. He told the police that he had met Antoine through a mutual friend and that they had been planning to sell drugs together, said that they had argued over money, and that during the course of the argument he had struck Antoine on the head with a glass bottle, causing him to fall and hit his head on the concrete floor. He then dragged Antoine's body to the back of the store where he put him inside the refrigerator. As for the motive, Jerome said that he wanted to steal Antoine's car. He told the police where they would find the vehicle, and they recovered it a short time later. But there was one question that still remained. What had happened to the second man that was seen on camera with Jerome? With Jerome in custody, the police were able to piece together what had happened to the second man. As it turned out, the second man was Jerome's brother, Marcus Stewart. He had helped his brother dispose of the body and was also involved in the drug dealing. The police were able to track down and arrest Marcus, thanks to surveillance footage from a nearby gas station. When the police showed him the footage, Marcus quickly admitted to his involvement in the crime. In the end, both brothers were charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, and conspiracy to commit murder. Both men are currently awaiting trial and will likely serve lengthy prison sentences. What do you think? Do you think the brothers acted alone? Was there more than one killer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, please subscribe if you enjoy true crime.